Hello everyone and welcome to the Nemesis Online Racing League Formula 2 Championship live from Baku this evening, or very early this morning for me in Australia. But just before we start our one-shot qualifying, as we've had a disconnection already, which is not good, we'll just go through the championship standings very quickly. So currently in first place it is Bolt TBD on 41 points, Chazza in second on 37 points, J Hobson UK on 16 points, Woody Racing on 15 points, Lazar the Greek on 12 points, Chiller Killer on 12 points, Sonics on 11 points, Paddy Brick on 10 points, Val, who had a very good performance in the sprint race, on 6 points, Dougie Afferman on 4 points, Testmeister on 2 points, and Anel Tanovic on 1 point, and the rest of them have not scored a single point so far. But now, let's see who's going to take pole around this very difficult track. It is super complicated, that is for sure. And in these cars, you do lack some grip, and you need lots of grip around here. Lots of 90-degree corners after long straights into heavy braking zones. And these cars aren't exactly the greatest under the brakes, as it looks like Val's doing a very good job at the moment, up in P5. I'm sure he'll be pleased with that, but let's see. Oh, we've got a couple of runners on medium tyres. Got Jacobs, Murcielago and Skull, but I'm not too sure why you've done that, because it doesn't actually matter which tyre you qualify on. You can select whatever tyre you want to start on at the start of the race, so unlucky for them lot that they weren't aware of that. They could have been starting on the super soft tyres. Val taking that very well through the castle section here. He's up in P3. What is this? As we've got a couple of our championship favourites, quite honestly. Chaz down in P6. I'm sure he won't be too pleased with that, as we'll get everything properly set up here. But yeah, Chaz are a little bit far behind, as it looks like Woody Racing and Bolt. Yeah, they're a little bit ways ahead, aren't they? Woody Racing. Oh, that's JFD, my bad. Oh, I've got the wrong way. This is great. As we've got Bolt now coming down the main straight, as of course completely flat out to the line. Is he going to take pole ahead of Woody Racing in P2? It surely looks like he is. Yes, he does. Bolt on pole by about 4/10 of a second over Woody Racing, with Chazza in third, who is a mile off pole. He did a 1:54.0. I can't remember exactly what the lap time was, in the 54s. Surely a mistake has been made there by Chazza, because that is not representative of his usual pace. As Bolt has just informed us in the chat, a bit of a butt clench lap. Yes, indeed, around the track it is a bit of butt clenching. But there we go, Bolt on pole with Woody in second, Chazza in third, 2.5 seconds off pole. Oh boy, it's a bit of a margin to be off pole by if you are one of the championship favourites. Jay Hobson in fourth, continuing his good performances so far this season. Danny Bin Lahar in fifth, Val with a very good performance in sixth, Hefford in seventh, Paddy Brick in eighth, Chiller Killer in ninth, King No Skill in 10th, Jacobs Motorsport in 11th, Murcielago in 12th, Skull in 13th, Sniper Killer in 14th, JFD in 15th. And that is it. It's got King No Skill, who's just joined back. Seems as if he's having quite a few connection issues here. As we're now just preparing to load into the lobby for, of course, the feature race, which I believe will be 16 laps. You do have to make a pit stop in the feature race. So we're just waiting ever so patiently. Of course, there's not much that these lot can do, as you can't change the amount of fuel that you can put in the car before the before the feature race, or the sprint race for that matter. And of course, it's going to be very interesting to see this race. Of course, a long straight in the last sector, down into turn 1. I think we're going to see plenty of action down into that corner, but of course, we have a formation lap just to, which is just fun to sit through, that's for sure. 15 laps is the length of the feature race. Now, last week I had done some practice. I had done a race around here. Oh, sorry, I had done a race around Bahrain, so I knew kind of what the strategy was, whereabouts you need to pit. So I'm a bit blind, but I'd assume around about lap 5 the tyres will start to fall off for the super soft tyres. So I'm assuming that's when we'll see the start of our pits, as we'll go to interval. As everyone except for Jacobs, Murcielago and Sniper Killer start on the super soft compounded tyre. So we'll be looking out for Jacobs, Motorsport and Murcielago to be going very long into this race, and of course Sniper Killer as well. As the commentator in the background, the track commentator's speaking about T-Wings for whatever reason, of course. With the Hungarian Grand Prix going on this weekend, we've seen the T-Wings back, because the teams want as much downforce as they possibly can get, and of course those T-Wings certainly add downforce, so if you can have some downforce in the car, you want to have it on the car, and that's exactly what they do. So the drivers now head through the castle section. Oh so slowly indeed. Just getting a couple of drinks of water, because last time in the feature race, in the sprint race, my my voice did get very sore after there was some brilliant action, of course. And if you want to check that out, just go back on to my channel page. It is the last video uploaded on the channel, so if you want to check that out, please do. And of course, at this time, 11 PM Central European time, 10 PM British Summer Time, and 7 AM Australian time on a Sunday morning, we'll be live for the Nemesis Online Racing League Formula 2 Championship. That's what we're seeing right here. As now the drivers are making their way down to their starting positions. There we go. Bolt up into his first grid slot. Hopefully we get a bit of a better camera view than this for the start of the race. It's got yellow flags for whatever reason. But here we go. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And it is lights out, and away we go. We've got a very poor camera angle, but it looks like Bolt has made a pretty good start. In fact, Woody just put his car up the inside there. It's been a nice move there by Danny Ibn Lahar around the outside. I did just notice that, but Woody leads us down. So Woody is behind Bolt down into turn 2, but Woody has got a very good run here, and he could have a look up the inside. He ducks back into the slipstream. Which way is Woody going to go? He's going to have to go down the inside, down into turn 3. It looks like he's overcooked it on the brakes. Has he gone into the wall? No, not quite, but he's managed to stay ahead of Chazza in P2. As it looks like we've had some major carnage behind. I'll have to try and see what's happened, but Val is up into P5. Jay Hobson in 6. He's lost a couple of positions to Val and Danny Ibn Lahar there. But we'll keep our eyes at the front of the race at the moment. So Woody Racing very aggressive on the curbs there, right up the back of Bolt, and through the castle section. I expect no different. Indeed, nose to tail. Woody Racing absolutely harassing Bolt, but somehow, someway through the castle section, we've had Jay Hobson get past Val. I'm not entirely sure how that has happened. But it has happened. Jay Hobson up into 5th place. It's Woody Racing with a slight little lock up there as Chazza is very close behind. And that little mistake there by Woody has actually allowed Chazza to get closer to the back of him. As we now head down the flat out section of this racetrack. Nearly 2 miles I think it is. As now it is going to be a slipstream fest down into turn 1, and you can see immediately Woody Racing is gaining a little bit, but it doesn't look like he's gaining enough. But one person who is gaining a lot is Chaz in the slipstream of Woody Racing. Is he going to be close enough to make a move? No, not too far. He's too far behind, as it looks like we've got about a 4-car battle as Val's nearly in the pit wall. What on earth is going on here? Is King No Skills trying to go around the outside of Val into turn 1. That is never going to happen, and now Hefford is going to be up the inside of King No Skill, up into turn 2. A nice move there. And Paddy Brick has got to go try and make a move around the outside of Hereford. Sorry, that is King No Skill, not Paddy Brick. Paddy Brick is just observing from behind. But Chazza, very close, I just noticed, to Woody Racing. There into turn 3. But Chazza following very close. Very, very close. So looks like we've got a bit of a trolley train behind Val here for P6 with Hefford, King No Skill, and I would say Paddy Brick, but he's dropped back a little bit from this group. I'm not entirely sure why. But here we go, let's watch the trolley train in full effect. So we go to the castle section, but Woody, it was about a second gap, but now he's all over the back of Bolt. Down into turn 14, I think it is. I can't remember exactly, I have to go off memory from the Grand Prix, which was some time ago. But Woody, as Hefford's just managed to get past Val, we've just missed that as we come back to the action from the leaders. But the leaders, 3 cars within half a second. I'm expecting fireworks here down this main straight, down into turn 1. Oh, is Chazza just go on the wall there slightly? I think he did just brush the wall. As now, Woody Racing fully in the slipstream of Bolt. It doesn't look like he's actually gaining though in a straight line. No, he's not, as he sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix of 150 as the feature race. But Bolt went a little bit wide there into turn 1, as that's given Woody the inside line for turn 2. But Bolt's going to try and hold it around the outside, and he has done so brilliantly. Oh, and Woody's got the power a bit too early, and that has allowed Chazza up into P3. Now he's got the slipstream and DRS and his teammate. Is he going to look to make the move? No, he thinks better of it. Still a long way to go in this race. It's only lap 3. No point with risking anything like that now. But speaking of risking things, that's Woody in the wall. Woody is absolutely set it from a mile back, and the Bolt's gone wide as well. And Chaz is up into the lead of the Grand Prix. Simply from out of nowhere, Chazza is in the lead of the Grand Prix after Woody Racing went in the wall and Bolt went wide. I don't know what on earth happened there. And speaking of going wide and deep, now Chaz has gone deep, and the Russian time cars nearly side by side in the castle section. But these drivers are much smarter, as Chaz was very close to the wall there. Not going to risk going side by side through a section of track which is pretty much impossible to go side by side through. But things have, as we've got a little bit of calmness now, just before we head down the main straight. Let's see who has made up positions in this Grand Prix. Of course, Chaz has made up 2 positions from P3. Danny's made up 1 on Jay Hobson up to P4. Hefford has done a good job there, and JFD has done a very good job as well, as Chili Killer is out of the Grand Prix, as Merchilago and Kevin Jacobs have had to make some stops. Oh, and was that Woody in the wall then? Did Woody just go in the wall? He has! Woody just went in the wall there, and Danny Bin Lahar is up into 3rd place. And you know what? Danny Bin Lahar, seemingly out of nowhere, is going to be up into P2. He's up the inside of Bolt. It is Danny Bin Lahar. He sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Oh, but he has gone absolutely into Africa in the first corner. Where on earth have you gone there, Danny? He had too much speed down the pit straight. He wasn't used to it and completely missed his braking zone there. Poor mistake from Danny Bin Lahar, but he's still going to be in P3 after Woody Racing went in the wall. Of course, trying to carry a bit too much speed through those fast sections, almost similar to the Porsche curves. In the final sector there, went too quick. Of course, he had damage from the crash early on the lap. Didn't adjust to that, and went straight in the wall. Very lucky to not be out of this race, it must be said. So be very happy that he's still in this race. He's always with who's that that's just gone off? Hereford's completely gone off, straight off, and that's King No Skill up into P5, and Val up into P4. Well done, Val. He's just keeping his nose clean at the moment, is Val. Might not be the quickest, but he's keeping his nose clean, and at the moment he's up into P4. Well done, Val. Paddy Brook also was King No Skill, very close to going into the wall. As I mentioned, the brakes, there isn't exactly a tremendous amount of stopping power in these cars, so it is very easy to just go on. As at the moment, Chazzo's pulled a one bit second lead over his teammate Bolt out of DRS, and of course that's so crucial. Oh, was Bolt had to lift off massively there. I wonder if he's got some front wing damage. He does indeed. That's why Bolt is struggling so much. He's got some front wing damage from when he went wide, I believe, in the first sector, and he is coming into the pit lane, and he's going to need a new front wing. And that is going to give Chazza an even bigger advantage, and that's going to... Oh, I was just going to say that's going to promote Danny Ben Lahar up into second place, but no. It has not, as I wait to see a new front wing on the car. Yep, a new front wing on the car of Bolt, as Danny Ben Lahar will not need a new front wing, and that should promote Danny up into effective P2. Indeed it is. He's out ahead of Bolt quite comfortably, as Bolt's having to wait for a couple of cars coming through the pit lane there. Unfortunate for him. But now King No Skill up in the slipstream of Val. Val defending. Not sure why. He was a bit too far back. Was King No Skill. As now Val is up into second position, as we've got Woody racing Ed of Bolt. And what's happened to Bolt here? I'm not sure what's happened to Bolt whatsoever. Looks like he's very slow coming out of the corner there. There's King No Skill once more all over the back of Nemesis Online Racing League. Oh, well, that's a Val. I don't know why I said that, but I did. As Danny managed to get his way past Sniper Killer, who's of course in effective second position at the moment. Very well taken, the castle section there by Danny Ben Lahar. Of course, is very strong around this track. He gave me a good challenge in the F1 league around here last year. That is for sure. As King No Skill's fallen off the back a little bit here, Val. And will Chazza pit? Yes, he does pit. Jeez, a full lock up there. No speeding in the pit lane penalty, so he'd be happy with that. Let's just see who has pitted. Oh, Chaz has also got a front wing change. So we might see Danny Ben Lahar coming into the lead of the Grand Prix effectively. Let's see. Danny Ben Lahar coming down the main straight now, just past the DRS line. He's coming, where's Chazza? Chazza's just coming out of the pit lane now. Danny is just about to go into turn one. Is he going to get it done on Chazza? Yes, he is! Danny's into the lead of the Grand Prix! Mistakes from Chazza, Bolt, and Woody Racing have all led to Danny Ben Lahar in the lead of the Grand Prix. They've all gone in the wall, damaged their front wings, and Danny Ben Lahar hasn't. And he's in the lead of the Grand Prix. Well done, Danny Ben Lahar, for keeping your nose clean. And that has secured him P1 for the time being. Of course, Chazza will be oh so ever determined to get back that effective first position, because of course Val and King No Skill. Speaking of Val, he's gone into the wall there just before the castle section. He will probably need a new front wing, as he's going very, very slow through the castle section, it must be said. Of course, these guys have not pitted, so that's why Danny is in effective first place, and same for Sniper Killer. They've not pitted as well, but surely these guys on the super soft tyres, you'd have to expect them to come into the pits as Val is struggling oh so much now. It's becoming a bit of a danger. King No Skill's going to try and go clean around the outside, but Val says no, I'll just cut across the curb and keep that position, thank you very much. So King No Skill has to sit behind Val for the time being, and I assume both of them are going to come into the pit lane here. So this could be very, very dangerous as King No Skill's got a tremendous run on Val. Oh boy, King No Skill's gone to the wall there. He's lost some front wing, so he's going to need a new front wing. As they both had to go oh so slow through that corner. Of course, comfortably flat in an F1 car, not so comfortably flat in an F2 car, especially with some tyre wear and some front wing damage. As there we go, got both of them coming into the pit lane now. As Woody Racing has found himself past Sniper Killer up into P5, and just before I was about to mention that Chazza closing the gap on Danny Ibn Lahar now. You can visibly see it, 1.7 seconds, and on the previous lap it was quite significantly more than that. So I wonder if Danny has made a mistake somewhere, because the gap is massively closing in now. Chazza is gaining and gaining every single wear on this track on Danny Ibn Lahar, and the way if it continues like this, Danny is going to be under threat pretty soon from Chazza, our man in second place in the championship at the moment. But doesn't look like it. Looks like Danny must have just made a mistake, must have gone a little bit deep somewhere, as now he's actually pulling out a gap on Chazza. They might be. I think I might know what it might be here. I think Danny's running a bit more downforce in the car, and that's why you're seeing him quite significantly quicker through this part of the track than Chazza. But Chazza down the main straight as we've got Bolt past Sniper Killer. I think Sniper Killer might have made a mistake there. Oh, as he just about keeps it out the wall there. But I think Chazza through this part of the track here is going to gain quite a bit of time as he's running a bit less downforce. A difference in setup here for Danny and Chazza, and if Chazza can get within that DRS and just continue to pluck away at that gap in and get inside the DRS, then it'll be very, very hard for Danny Ibn Lahar to keep Chazza behind. So of course you can't really overtake in much of the corners here, very difficult to do so. The overtaking is done on the straights, and you can see as soon as they've gone on the straight, Chazza is gaining tremendously on Danny Ibn Lahar with no slipstream and no DRS. So once he gets that slipstream and DRS, it's going to be quite interesting to see just how quickly Chazza can gain down the main straight. The gap is 1.2 seconds. As we just had a message from Testameister in the chat saying, "Hey Neb, do you think I can join the sprint race? I fell asleep and woke up right now." I assume you'll be able to join the sprint race, mate. So if you want to, I assume you've got an invite, and if you haven't, I might have to do that for you. But yes, you should be able to join. Indeed. Chazza 1.4 seconds behind Danny Ibn Lahar. He's starting to close in parts of the track where you wouldn't expect him to gain with this difference of setup that we have established here. As it looks also very stationary, a little bit behind Chazza on fresher tyres than Danny. One lap, but that isn't going to make too much difference. I say too much, but there is a difference because of course it is a very shortened race. That one lap actually means quite a bit more than, say, in a 50% race. But Chazza, he gained quite a bit of time through that part of the track there, as he's now within a second of Danny Ibn Lahar, as I was just talking about on the last lap. As soon as he gets in within DRS, it's going to be very hard to keep Chazza behind. And here we go, as we head through the Porsche curves, basically the Porsche curves. And now Chazza in the slipstream of Danny Ibn Lahar. Look how much he's gaining already. It's going to be an absolute no contest. And now with DRS open, heading down into turn one. Which way is Danny going to defend? He's going to defend the inside line. He's going to make Chazza go the long way around. Hopefully this lap car doesn't get in the way, but it's going to be quite comfortable move there for Chaz around the outside of Danny Ibn Lahar and up into the lead of the Grand Prix. Terrific stuff there by Chaz. He gained on Danny Ibn Lahar in places where he shouldn't have been really gaining. Oh, as Chaz has run deep there, actually, and now it's going to allow Danny Ibn Lahar to potentially go around the outside of Chazza into turn 3. Is he going to be able to make it stick? It looks like he is. Danny Ibn Lahar with a fantastic move around the outside of Chazza there. Fantastic stuff. Chazza made a little bit of a mistake into turn 2. I think he ran a little bit wide and a little bit deep, and that allowed Danny, who got a very good run, to get past. But if these two keep squabbling, one thing is for sure, that Woody Racing and Bolt will be looking to capitalise on that and gain, of course, the gap between Woody Racing and Chaz at the moment is 3.5 seconds, so it is quite a big gap. But that can come down very, very quickly. As we've seen, Danny had about 2.5 second lead over Chaz, and that come down very quickly. But Chaz, he is looking very strong, as we've got some action in the back here. I think it was between Kevin Jacobs and Murcielago. Not entirely sure what's happened there, but King No Skill once again finding himself behind Val, and I'm sure he'll be looking to make his way past as soon as he possibly can. But here we go once again, Chazza in the slipstream of Danny Ibn Lahar. Look how much more comfortable these guys are taking those corners now, as they've got some fresher tyres and some new front wings on. But Chazza, this is once again going to be a no contest. Danny defends the inside line once again. He's going to make Chazza go the hard way. He's going to make him go around the outside, but he looks like he's comfortably ahead already into turn 1. We won't even have to defend, but Chazza goes deep. And whereabouts is Danny Ibn Lahar? Danny Ibn Lahar is going to try and make a move around the outside, is he? No, he's going to look for some sort of switchback. Hope that Chazza goes a little bit deep, but Chazza does not make the same mistake twice. But now Danny is in the slipstream. He's going to go and try make the move around the outside. Once again, he's going to repeat what he did on the last lap, is he? It looks like Chazza's a little bit more there. But Danny has just gone clean around the outside once again. Fantastic defending once more by Danny Ibn Lahar. Oh boy, Chaz has been mugged off twice around the outside there. He's just struggling a little bit out of turn 1 and 2. And Danny's getting a very good run. Speaking of struggling, Danny went a little bit deep there, and that should allow Chaz a good run. But of course, you can't really overtake in this part of the track. And as I was mentioning, these two squabbling is only going to mean that Woody Racing is going to gain. And look at that, he's only 1.5 seconds behind these two now. This could very quickly become a 4-way fight, and even, well, this could become chaos, basically. As now King No Skill is... Oh, what's happened here? As it looks like King No Skill might have punted Val off and allowed Val back through. I'm sure we'll find out after the race what exactly happened there. But King No Skill letting Val back through, it looks like that. So now Woody Racing, he's nearly within a second of Chazza here. And then, of course, as I said, forecast scrap, I meant that Bolt could join in on this, as he is only 2 seconds behind Woody Racing, as everything is closing up here between the top 4 at the front. But once more, it is Chazza. Oh, struggling with a bit more understeer there is Chazza. And now, with the opening of the DRS and in the slipstream, he's much further back than what he was on previous laps. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to make the move down into turn 1. He's very low on the brakes. Is he going to stop it in time? Oh, it looks like Danny stopped a little bit unsuspectingly there. Well, it looks like he went unexpectedly slow through the apex of turn 1. I don't know if that was just a little bit of lag on my end. But Chazza then hit the back of him, and now that's going to allow Woody Racing a prime opportunity to get past Chazza into P2. He's going to go and look what Danny did around the outside of turn number 3, but no, he's not going to be able to quite have the confidence that Danny had on the brake to make that move on Chazza. But a weird incident there between Chazza and Danny. Looks like Danny's car just stopped on the middle of the corner, and Chazza hit the back of him. That cost him quite a bit of time. He's now out of the DRS window, as Chazza looks to be really struggling here, as Woody Racing is all over the back of him, weaving and dodging to try and put Chazza off into the corners. Chazza's locked up. Woody Racing trying to get the inside. You don't want to be doing that, mate. It's not AI. But Danny also seems to be struggling. He's going wide everywhere. I think these guys' tyres are starting to struggle now. and they could have some front wing damage as well, perhaps. And I said forecast scrap because now we have Bolt, our championship leader, involved in this battle, and it's going to be an absolute grandstand finish here. And we've still got a few more laps to go as Danny's in the wall there. I'm not sure if he lost some front wing, but that was certainly some hefty contact with the wall. And now that's going to allow Chazza to be all over the back of Danny Ibn Lahar down the main straight. But let's face it, look at this. We've got 4 cars within about a second here. This is fantastic stuff. This is what we love to see, as Danny and Chazza all very close to the wall there, as looks like Danny is now going to be an absolute sitting duck to Woody Racing. And Chazza down the main straight, and Chazza's got the inside line for the corner. Woody Racing, which way is he going to go? Danny is not going to be an issue in this bout at the moment, but Chazza up the inside has got the move done on Woody Racing. And Danny Ibn Lahar, as Bolt is now close behind, as he's actually got the move done on Danny Ibn Lahar there. And now it looks like he's actually struggling with the traction a little bit, but Woody Racing in the slipstream of Chazza down into turn 3. Is he going to be able to do anything about it? No, not quite. Chazza holds on for the first time and secures that lead of the Grand Prix. As Danny, and he's squabbling with Bolt here. Oh, and he runs wide there, does Danny, and that allows Bolt up into P3. He was just in the lead of the Grand Prix at the start, as we crossed the finish line, basically. And now he's down into P4. This has been a disastrous couple of corners for Danny Ibn Lahar. He's in first place, and now he finds himself somehow down into P4. But now Woody Racing is continuing to pressure Chazza through this middle sector, as we've seen lots of drive. Oh, Woody Racing's hit the wall, and Bolt's also got into him. Absolute disaster, and oh, somehow Val has somehow missed him there. But Woody Racing into the wall at the castle section, and also Bolt had nowhere to go, straight into him. And now Danny Ibn Lahar is up in the second place, and Chazza has absolutely no pressure on him as a 4-second gap. Oh boy, Woody Racing with a severe mistake there, when it looks like he could have potentially been winning this feature race. Has made a mistake. He's down into P4. It wasn't Val indeed, it was another car. I think it might have been JFD, a lapped car, avoiding Woody Racing there. But has Bolt actually sustained any damage there? Surely he has. Surely he has to come into the pits. No, it looks like he's going to carry on, so it looks like Bolt might have a little bit of damage, but it's not bad enough to make him pit, as he is 1.5 seconds behind, as Woody Racing isn't even going to have to pit. Interesting stuff here, as JFD very smartly gets out the way there, although certainly a bit excessive, as Bolt now looking to gain on Danny Ibn Lahar is within the 1 second DRS, as we've got a fantastic battle here between Val and Jay Hobson, as we've seen quite numerous times so far, as Val looks like he's going to defend the inside line there, but Jay Hobson's going to look to go around the outside, but Val with a superior run at the corner, and Jay Hobson, he pitted very early, I do remember that, and he's on 9-lap-old mediums, so Val's certainly going to have the advantage here with the tyres, but Jay Hobson up the inside of Val. It looks like at the moment, as he cuts back to the racing line very smartly there. Better braking performance there. Going to brake later if you're on the outside line, as we've seen numerous times here from the likes of Danny Ibn Lahar, making 2 moves around the outside of Chazza so far. But Jay Hobson now he's going to look to streak ahead of Val. And we've seen Val on a couple of times here through this castle section be a little bit tentative, looking to make sure he doesn't risk his front wing or anything. Oh, and speaking of risking, he loses the rear end out of that corner. He did tap the wall, but I don't think it was actually any front wing contact to the wall. It was more tyre contact with the wall. As now we've got Bolt in the slipstream, having to lift off there through these fast corners at the end of the final sector, now right in the slipstream of Danny Ibn Lahar. And now with the DRS open, Danny Ibn Lahar's going to have to defend the inside line there, but it's going to be a no contest with the slipstream and DRS of the Russian time, as Bolt secures himself up into P2, does he? Just about. Yes, and Danny Abinlahar now down into P3, but was seen a couple of times here on, of course. Never mind, Danny Abinlahar does what Chaz has done a couple of times, runs deep into turn 2, and that's going to allow Bolt rather comfortably to secure his P2 for the time being. I was going to mention how Danny... Oh, as Danny's gone deep now. He's struggling a little bit here. Is Danny, as now we've got Jay Hobson and Val with an absolute ding-dong battle there, as we had Val sending it up the inside, it looks like, on Jay Hobson, but Jay Hobson's managed to survive for the time being, and Val getting all up on that curb. That's not where you want to be. Certainly not where you want to be, because you just lose all form of grip and traction out the corner. It's Val! Oh, dearie me! Val has just outbraked himself there and sent Jay Hobson into a spin, into the wall. And that's very unfortunate for Jay Hobson, who was having a fantastic race. It also looks like he might have lost a little bit of front wing there. A mistake from Val has demoted Jay Hobson up into 7th and promoted Val up into P5. And I'm sure if King No Skill wasn't here, that Val would let Jay Hobson back through. But you could see that happening from a mile away, that Val outbroke himself. And that has sadly ruined a very good chance of P5 for Jay Hobson. As now, oh, somehow we've got Woody Racing past Danny Abinlahar. I've somehow missed that in all of that. And now Woody Racing ran deep there at the final true corner on this. Oh, it's not fun seeing those cars go through theirs. Chazo is now on the final lap of the Grand Prix, but I'm not sure how Woody Racing... Oh, Woody Racing's got a puncture! He's on lap 10 of those tyres and he's got a puncture. I'm not sure how that has happened. I've missed all of that as we were watching Val and King No Skill and the Jay Hobson squabble. But he has got a puncture somehow. I'm sure that must have been some from wall-to-wall contact, because I'm sure the medium tyres can last 10 laps around this circuit. But Chazza with a very comfortable near 8-second lead. And of course, with Woody Racing coming into the pits to fix that puncture, now Val is going to be promoted up into P4, so going to be very strong finish if he stays in this position. But of course, I'd expect that he's going to get a penalty for that contact down into turn 3 with Jay Hobson, as we've got Hefford. And we've got a spectator bug here with Woody having no front wing put on. I assume this isn't a spectator bug. Yes, he's certainly going quicker than what he'd be going if he did have no front wing. There's Jay Hobson there. We're going a little bit deep. As King No Skill now has a 3-second penalty for corner cutting. And Chaz up as he heads through the final couple of corners now, through the last corner. He is going to win the feature race. Fantastic performance here by Chazza. He just kept his nose clean the most out of any driver. He avoided the chaos. Of course, he did have to change his front wing, but he has secured a fantastic result here. And once again, another Russian time, 1-2, as his teammate Bolt, TBD, finishes in P2. It's going to be Danny Abinlahar in P3. And sooner or later, it will be Val in P4. Tremendous result for Val. But after he punted Jay Hobson off, it is going to be a little bit lower than that for Val. As Chazza, understandably very happy in the chat. As Bolt in the chat now saying, could have won that, but I made too many mistakes. So we did see a lot of mistakes from quite a few of the drivers. Oh, and here we go. We got a little bit of spice in the chat now. As Bolt saying, now Woody deployed the good old roadblock with an angry face emoji. Oh boy. Heating up in the chat. But Danny, P3. Val in P4, King No Skill 5th, Jay Hobson, you'll be disappointed with that. P6, Woody Racing will be even more disappointed with that in P7. He could have won this race, that is for sure. Hefford in P8, Merchliger P9, the Sniper Killer in P10, Paddy Brick will eventually come home with no front wing in P10. Kevin Jacobs P12, Jeff D P13, Skull P14, and Chili Killer, of course, retired from the Grand Prix. Now, just for the next couple of minutes, gonna just relax. Gonna save my voice as we wait for Skull to come across the line. There we go. But we have another Russian time, 1-2, with Chazza this time winning from his teammate Bolt in second place, and Danny Bilhart in third place. Good result for Danny. He also could have won this race. He was in the lead until he went down from P1 in the space from about the exit of the final corner, and then into about turn 3 he was in fourth. So he got swamped by Bolt, Woody, and Chazza did Danny. But there we go, and Bolt, as he took pole, of course, and the fastest lap, only lost 1 point to Chazza. So at the moment he is still going to be in the lead of the championship. So very good there by Bolt. Very good qualifying performance. Of course, was on pole by 2.5 seconds ahead of Chazza, his teammate. But in the race, that was not the same picture, as Chazza was much quicker in the race than what he was in qualifying. Did a tremendous job. As now we're going to head to the sprint race, and of course reverse grid. As Gaming now just said, fast lap and pole again, though at least I'm good at something. Yes indeed. You've done very well there to limit your losses, as we've got a bit more overcast conditions here for the sprint race. Of course, with the reverse grid. As Sniper Kill in the chat says, just saying, Nib, mediums lose a lot of grip after lap 7 and super softs lose grip after lap 5. Thank you for that information there, mate. I could certainly see the drivers struggling through those what should be flat out corners. On the last couple laps they were struggling a lot, so thanks for that information here. But of course you won't have to make a pit stop in the sprint race unless you lose some front wing, get some damage, even get a puncture like Woody Racing did. Who knows, you'll be on the mediums for the entire race, which should be about 11 laps, I believe. As Ed Cantwell has said, have you had a heart attack yet? No, not so far today. We've had some good battling, but not quite as chaotic and spectacular as Bahrain yet. But who knows? These lot could surprise me yet in the in this sprint race we're just about to have. And who knows? I could very well have a heart attack in the sprint race. So I'm not entirely sure what's happening here. Okay, I was just checking what was going on because oh, the lobby is glitched. So it looks like we're gonna have to have a bit of a rehost here. So just bear with us whilst we get that all sorted out. I'm not too sure anyone is actually sure of what's going on at the moment. But if one of you guys can just send me an invite when the new lobby is up, that will be much appreciated. So now we're just going to have to sit here for the time being. And I don't know if you want to ask me any questions about my thoughts on the race so far, on the championship, on real life F1, on anything basically, just, I don't know, go ahead and do so in the chat if you want. Keep us entertained and keep me entertained whilst we wait to get a rehost here. And now, a couple of people are wondering how we're going to get the reverse grid sorted out. Indeed, that is going to be an issue. Yep, so nothing much we can do here at the moment, as we're just sitting waiting. It looks like we're underway here, actually. Are we underway? Yes, we are. Okay, I missed that. The formation lap here for the sprint race. The lobby has finally sorted itself out. It looks like, unfortunately, Skull TBD is going to miss out on this race due to an application error. So it might have been him who was holding us up. But very unfortunate for him that he won't be able to take part unless he could join back just in time. Who knows? But Testameister has joined us for this sprint race. Good to see, as he was talking in the chat before. I mean, P16, and of course with the reverse grid. Here we have Hereford on pole, Woody Racing in second, and Woody Racing should really be taking advantage of this. He should really be taking advantage of this. He has to be absolutely favourite to win this Grand Prix. Jay Hobson in third, King No Skill in fourth, Val in fifth, Danny Binlaha in sixth, Bolt in seventh. Oh, and Bolt's just hit the wall there, trying to warm up their tyres. Oh dearie me. Chazza in eighth, Murcielago in ninth, Sniper Killer in 10th, Paddy Brick in 11th, Jacobs Motorsport in 12th, JFD in 13th, Chillicle in 15th, and of course the before mentioned Testameister in P16. As Skull is making it known that he's not having fun with these cars. There's certainly not a lot of grip in these cars, but I actually find them quite fun because they're certainly a lot more challenging than the F1 cars. So I do enjoy that, and we can see everyone on the medium compound tyres as they'll all be going to the end of the sprint race here around the streets of Baku, as we're about to get underway here. As now we're just waiting for the light sequence to begin. Here we go. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and lights out, and away we go. And it looks like it's been a pretty solid start for Woody Racing up the inside, and also for Danny Bin Lahar. Oh, and Jay Hobson also has made a fantastic move, and oh, we've got some contact there. I know it's between Danny Bin Lahar and I'm not sure who else, but Danny Bin Lahar has had some major contact there. As now Bolt is already. Oh, and who's at the wall there? We've seen a Carlin at the wall there, and Danny Bin Lahar has immediately left the session. He is absolutely furious. But the pole sitter for this sprint race, Hereford, is already down to P4. He had a shocking start, and Woody and Bolt were already up the inside. So Woody and Jay Hobson were already up past him before turn 1, and it's one of the shortest runs into turn 1 on the calendar. We've got some yellow flags further back behind. I wonder what has happened here. Oh, what has happened here? I'm not too sure. Oh, Danny Bin Lahar has rejoined. He's rejoined and he's taken back control, and that held everyone up. So what's happening to Paddy Brick there? I'm not entirely sure what's happening here. I can't really commentate on that one. I have absolutely no idea, but there was some front wing there already lost, and that might have been from Jay Hobson, who's struggling massively through that part of the section, the castle section, And that's going to promote Bolt up into P2 past Jay Hobson very easily. And now Jay Hobson's going to come under pressure from Hereford for his P3 slots. We've got some more yellow flags further back, but now Hereford trying to go up the inside. I think he's outbroke himself there. Is he going to keep ahead of Jay Hobson? No, they're going to be side by side for the time being through these tight and twisty streets of Baku, and this is not going to end nicely, is it? Oh, and Jay Hobson has gone spinning round side by side through there. Was never going to work. And now Jay Hobson's race is completely ruined. He's lost a major part of his front wing after contact with Hereford through the tight and twisty S-bends. That was never going to work. I'm not entirely sure what they're thinking, but Chaz is in the pits. I think Chaz has been caught up in this, of course. This is going to be disastrous for his championship. And there you go, he's been caught up in it. Chaz has been caught up in this chaos. After I must say, some very silly driving from Hereford and Jay Hobson. One of them should have backed out. Absolutely should have backed out. And oh boy, that has cost Chaz massively. He's now down to P14. And in a race where you don't have to pit, that's going to be a big ask to come back for some points for Chazza. But now we're going to look back forward as we've got Danny Bin Lahai in P9 after there was contact between him and I think another car. I think it might have been Val. I'm not too sure though, before I go pointing and blaming other people. In P9 is Danny Bin Lahai. But one person who's going to be very happy with things so far, as we've got a virtual safety car. I haven't even noticed that. I'm just so used to yellow flag being out that are underneath a virtual safety car. And JFD, I'm not too sure what's happening here, but he's just got a couple of drive-through penalties for speeding underneath the virtual safety car. So Kevin Jacobs says he's all done. He's retired from this. As Scout is once more voicing his frustrations in the chat. So we're back underway, and Bolt has benefited massively from this, and he's going to be in the lead. Bolt, as no Woody Racing might try to go down the inside there, but Bolt has actually won quite a bit wide, and now it's going to allow Woody to still fight for his position down the inside into turn 2. Woody Racing goes a little bit deep, a little bit sideways action, but Bolt has had the better exit out the corner, and it looks like he's going to lead. But Woody Racing will not give up. He has the DRS, and he looks like he's going to go up the inside down into turn 3. He's going to be able to make the move stick. He's got his car there, but no. He's going to hold around the outside his Bolt at the moment. But Woody Racing certainly not looking to give up. He's trying to go around the outside into that corner. As we've got Testmeister and Danny Bin Lahai in the pit lane. Not entirely sure what's happened there. And now Chaz has moved up into P11 oh so quickly. How things can change as Woody Racing is really putting the pressure on Bolt here at the moment, as he's looking to potentially even go past into the lead up, into the run up to the castle section, as we've seen contact between these two. Here, the last time it was Woody went into the wall, but Woody is certainly all over the back. He certainly looks like the much faster driver through this middle sector than Bolt's. Got more yellow flags, so I'm not entirely sure why. Oh, was Woody's locked up there, but thankfully he's not gone into the wall or anything else. Oh, it sounded very, very rough over the curbs there. But now, Woody Racing looks like he's going to be able to potentially make a move on Bolt here. He's going to have Slipstream and, of course, the all-important DRS. As we're now just about to activate it. Yes, Woody Racing activates the DRS. Which way is he going to go? Bolt's going to defend the inside line. No way through the inside there for Woody Racing, but Bolt, he might just be able to hold on. No, he's not. Woody Racing clean around the outside. Fantastic move there by Woody Racing. And now Bolt is down into P2 as the conditions becoming more and more overcast. as we speak. We might see a sprinkle of rain here. We have seen a sprinkle of rain occasionally on this race, but Bolt is going to go on the inside. Is he into turn 3? No, not quite. He had a tremendous run down that straight there. Nearly caught me and Woody Racing napping, but Woody manages to hold on to P1 for the time being, as we've got JFD coming to the pits, and just like that, Chazza is up into P10. As everything is now starting to calm down a little bit. As Chiller Killer is just a little bit behind Val, as Val is just slightly, well, he's just underneath a second behind Hereford here. And also Paddy Brick is not too far away from King No Skill. But we'll stay on board with Val here, as we've got yellow flags in sector 2. It's Paddy Brick! Paddy Brick's out of the race. It looks like he's crashed through the castle section. And we're going to see here when Chaz comes through. Let's see, we'll go on board with Chaz. Yep, yellow flags in this part of the track. It can be only one place. Surely he's crashed out in the castle section. Yes, indeed. Oh, and Chaz has to avoid him there. We have to watch out for that, as Paddy Brick's car is just sat in the middle of the track. That surely should be a safety car game if you're going to have him just sitting in the middle of the track there. But by the time as Jay Hobson comes through that part of the track, his car is cleared, and that's cost Chaz quite a bit of time to King No Skill. Of course, there was already quite a big gap, but it's opened up by another couple of seconds. As Val now in the slipstream, and of course within DRS of Hereford here. Is he going to be able to make the move here on Hereford? Is Val? No, he's a bit too far deep, and he doesn't decide to run into the back of Hereford like he did Jay Hobson, of course, in the feature race. Val running a little bit wide through that corner. We're going to just stay on board with these guys here for the time being, as there's not too much action out in front between Woody Racing and Bolt. Look, Bolt might have sustained a little bit of front wing damage, because Woody Racing is starting to pull away. We can't see it visually, but he might have just got a little bit of front wing damage, as Woody Racing's opening up and extending that gap now to about 2 seconds. And of course, here we go. The battle for P3 is really on between Hereford, Val and Chiller Killer. And who knows, a couple of laps of battling between these lot, and Murcielago could be involved in that. We've seen how that has happened before, as we've got yellow flags. What's happened here is Val! What's happened to Val there? I'm not entirely sure. We're on a bad camera view at that stage. As Val is way too far behind to make a challenge on Hereford, but Chiller Killer is also too far back here. And we've got JFD getting another penalty for crossing the white line, and Woody Racing has actually lost quite a bit of time to Bolt in the first sector, as I've just seen some yellow flags. Bolt now just outside of second. Is Hereford P3. Got a little bit of a gap as Jay Hobson's retired from the session. Not entirely sure why or where. It must be through that castle section. It has to be through that castle section. Oh, as we had a car going wide there. It was Sniper Killer. Not entirely sure. It might have been some battling with King No Skill. Didn't quite catch that, unfortunately. As now we have Val once more behind Hereford. He just needs to string together a good couple of laps here, and he will find himself past Hereford, of course, with the power of the slipstream and DRS. I must say, this race has been pretty dull so far. The reverse grid potentially not spicing things up as much as we had hoped for, but of course a crash earlier between Jay Hobson and Hereford, which also implicated Chazza. It's kind of taken away from the battle for the lead for the time being. And of course Danny Bilahar, who was very quick in the previous race, down in P10 after he had some contact at turn 1. He did rage quit, but then quickly rejoined back. As Val is certainly gaining, but Val needs to be more concerned about the driver behind him, and that is Chiller Killer, as Hereford is absolutely weaving all over the track. I'm sure that might be looked at by the stewards, as Val has certainly outbraked himself there, I thought. No, not quite. Oh, we've got Testameister coming out in front of these guys. Here we go. Things are heating up here between this three. And Val? What on earth was that? He just absolutely launched it up the inside of Hereford. Must have seen it coming, because he just absolutely ducked and weaved out the way like he read it in a book one day. As now Chiller Killer's going to try and launch from 2 cars back around the outside. Surely not! What a move by Chiller Killer, but Hereford is still there. He's got the move done. What a move that is by Chiller Killer. And that's Val, is it? Is that Val? Yes, it is. Val has gone spinning around. And what a disaster for the Italian there. He's down into P5 now, but what a move that was by Chiller Killer around the outside of both Hereford and Val. Well, that is impressive by Chiller Killer. What a fantastic move, and that is by far the best overtake we have seen so far today. We've seen some fantastic moves by Danny Bin Lahari on the outside that corner, but that tops the lot. Fantastic by Chiller Killer, and now he'll look to extend his advantage, which is just about half a second over Hereford, as now Bolt is within DRS for the first time in quite some time of Woody Racing here. It'll be interesting to see if Bolt will be able to gain quite some time down here, as he now is opening up the DRS. And look at that, he is gaining massively on Woody Racing down into turn 1. At this rate, he could potentially make a move as he sets the fastest lap at 1:54.7. That is quite an impressive lap time, of course, helped by the DRS and the slipstream. But no matter what, that is still quite an impressive lap time here, as now he's going to try and look, but he ran a little bit too deep there into turn 2. Did Bolt, and that's going to make sure that Woody Racing stays up into P1 at the moment. It's Woody Racing around a little bit deep there. It's going to cost him a little bit of time to Bolt. But now Bolt all over the back of Woody Racing. As they come through the castle section, exit the castle section now. Bolt, oh, a little bit squirmish on the exit there, and Woody Racing is just oh, and Chazza is in the pit lane. I have no idea why Chazza is coming to the pit lane there, and he's gone on the medium compounded tyres. Interesting stuff there. I expect him to go on the super soft tyre, but he's gone on the medium compound tyres. Has Chazza. Interesting. As Bolt now in the slipstream and the DRS of Woody Racing. Open up the DRS. Which way is Woody going to go? He's going to defend. But there is no defence you can put up to that, as Bolt absolutely launches past Woody Racing up into P1 of this race. And now he's going to have to look and extract revenge on Bolt. And we've seen quite a number of times now drivers make fantastic moves around the outside into this upcoming corner, but he's going to be way too far back at the moment. Oh, it's quite a big lock up there from Woody Racing. That isn't going to help his tyres, that is for sure. Locking up nearly into every corner is Woody Racing. And of course, these two drivers are on the same tyre. Of course, they started the Grand Prix on. The sprint race on. It was both drivers cut the corner a little bit there. I think Woody Racing was put off a little bit there by Bolt. Bolt just a little bit more confident through this castle section at the moment. And he's going to extend his lead. Yes, Woody Racing a bit squirmish. He ran a little bit wide there. As now he's fallen behind Bolt a little bit, but he's still within a second at the moment. Oh, it's getting near a second. It's going to be so important for Woody to stay within that second so he can get the DRS down the main straight. And indeed he is. He's going to stay within that second. He's going to get a much better exit than Bolt out of that final corner. It's now Sniper Killer pits, and that promotes Chaz up into P9. But Woody Racing now in the slipstream, and he's about to get the DRS right now. Is he going to be able to make anything happen here? Down into turn 1, absolutely not is the answer. Woody Racing barely gaining on Bolt as now the sun has opened up as we are on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. As now he is much closer than what he found himself. Down into turn 1 is Woody Racing, but once again he's not really gaining. It's going to have to be a move from a long way back for Woody Racing, but he decides against it, of course. No point risking your front wing when there's still a whole 2 laps to go. But Woody Racing looking very strong here at the moment. He's going to be giving it everything he's got to get past Bolt. Oh, and he's all over the back of him here, but of course he can't make a move. He seems to be very strong through that part of the track. I've seen a couple of times now on Bolt, and of course Chazza earlier on through that part of the track. Very quick, but can't do anything about it. As we've got some yellow flags in Sector 1. That might be for King No Skill. Oh, sorry, for Murcielago. Yes, indeed, it looks like it was for Murcielago, who has had some sort of incident in the first sector. But Woody Racing once more gaining on Bolt. And of course, now through the final sector and with the DRS and the slipstream. Ooh, was very close to the wall there was Woody Racing, as now the drivers are starting to struggle a little bit with their tyres. But Woody Racing doesn't seem to be actually gaining, but now with the DRS open he'll surely be gaining on Bolt. But it's going to be nowhere near enough. He only gained about half a tenth. Woody is massively outbraked himself there. I thought he was going to absolutely demolish the rear end of Bolt, but somehow he managed to keep it out the wall. Well done to Woody Racing to not create a massive incident there, but that's surely going to cost him a chance of winning this Grand Prix. But now we've got Chillikill and Hereford, the battle for P3, heating up once more. As Hereford was looking to get back the position which he once held from Chillikill, of course, made that fantastic move around the outside at this very corner which they're heading up to. As Hereford in the slipstream is gaining, but he is not close enough to make a move. And I think what we're seeing here in this battle for P1 is what we've seen in the first race. I think we're seeing that Bolt is running less downforce than Woody Racing, which is why he is so strong through this part of the track. Oh, as he's nearly pushing Bolt through these corners, he is so much quicker than him at the moment. Oh, he's all over the back of him. This is going to be an absolute ridiculous battle to the bitter end. But Woody Racing, he might have to try and get it done before the final corner. He stays behind for the time being, as Bolt, very aggressive over the curbs there, has gained quite a bit of time than Woody Racing, who went a bit cautious. But Woody Racing is going to have to get as close as he possibly can, as Bolt has run a little bit deep there. That could cost him the win here. Now Woody Racing is only 2.5 tenths behind Bolt here. Oh, Bolt's run right into the wall, and Woody Racing is up the inside, and a mistake from Bolt. A couple of mistakes from Bolt. Sure. Oh, what's happening here? As Bolt is coming back side by side. He's in the pit lane. He's crossed the white line, and he's got back. P1 for Bolt, but that might be... There might be an investigation there as he's crossed the pit exit, the pit entry line. But what a finish we've just had to that race. 2 mistakes from Bolt. He even went in the wall. And then Woody went up the inside. And then somehow Bolt has come back past. But I'm sure that might be looked at. Oh boy, what a finish we've had to that race. And somehow we've had Hereford finish in P3 and Val in P4 and Chillakilla in P5. Oh, I've missed that, but that's disappointing for Chillakilla. He was in P3 on the final lap, but has lost out to both Val and Hereford. Oh boy, that was an absolute fantastic finish to that race. It really was. King No Skill finishes in P6. Merchilay in P7. Danny, disappointing race. Looks like he's going to finish in P8. As we've got some sort of gearbox or gear glitch with Danny. And Chazza, very disappointing, got caught up in an incident which he had no part in. Lost his entire front wing, had to pit twice in this race actually, and he finishes in P8 ahead of Danny Bin Lahar. Sniper Killer is going to come home in 10th place as we've got Testameister already a lap down in P11. It's across the line, and same as JFD is about to come across the line in P12. But that wraps it up. And once again, another Russian time win, but this time it's Bolt. It was Chazza in race 1 in the feature race, but in the sprint race it's been Bolt. He was superb. He was just the better driver at the end of the day. But the first time it hasn't been a Russian time 1-2 is Chazza, all the way down in P8. He'll be so disappointed, and he is indeed, in the chat right now, as his teammate is going to have a massive lead in the championship. That is for sure, and we'll see at the end just how many points he's gained on Chaz over this weekend. Of course, I can't just put the championship standings up for you off the top of my head after this, but I will read it out, of course, just before the one-shot qualifying begins next time out. But there we go, we got Bolt winning the race ahead of Woody Racing by 0.2 of a second. Somehow he just did. Hereford in P3, a good result for him. Val in P4, Chillakilla in 5th, King No Skill in 7th, Murcielago in 7th, Chazza in 8th, Danny Bin Lahai in 9th, Sniper Killer in 10th, Testameister in 11th, JFD in 12th, Jay Hobson in 13th, and Paddy Brick in 14th. But we'll just have to check before we leave to see where we'll join you guys from next time out, and it will be at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya in Spain next time out. That's the circuit we'll be joining you guys at 11 PM CET on Saturday the 10th of August. But for me, it has been a fantastic race to call. Couple of fantastic races, some very good battling. But it's been Nate Nibbler, and we will all see you this time next week for what I'm sure is going to be a very exciting race around the Spanish Grand Prix circuit.